This is Hammond.
And Jessica.
And you're listening to the Friendly Atheist Podcast. Please stop everything you're doing right now. Go to patreon.com/Friendly Atheist Podcast. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And then donate. Like, don't just go there. How are you?
I'm so tired.
I'm sure. I literally walked into Jess's place like 2 minutes ago, then shut my mouth, and I was like, well, wait till we start recording because I want to hear about this trip. You got back like now.
Yeah, I got back like an hour ago.
And I know nothing about what happened there.
Yeah.
I don't even know who you talked to be honest with you.
No, you don't. I think I'm going to keep that under my vest.
I see how that is.
Close to my vest.
Okay. You're mixing metaphors somewhere.
I'm tripping over metaphors all over the place. God, it was amazing. Southern California has the best fucking weather in the world. It is January.
Yeah,
it is
welcome
65
to Chicago,
degrees.
right.
It was incredible. So I had originally planned on tentatively talking to 6 people. That dwindled down to 4, but they're 4 cool, fun interviews that I'm super stoked to share with everyone.
That's awesome. If you are a Patreon subscriber at least $1 a month, you will get access. Well, we're going to release these as bonus episodes for subscribers.
Yes.
And later on, we'll release them to everybody.
Yeah.
So
yeah, why don't we like drop them all tomorrow for subscribers? And then
it won't be tomorrow because I'm going to go crazy.
Okay.
But it will happen
in
the next couple days.
Yeah, and then we'll
drop
release them one at a time.
We'll release them for everyone.
Yeah,
I
anyway.
can't wait to hear them.
Yeah, it was super great. The trip was awesome. So I had, today's it's Friday at 8 o'clock. This is going to be a mess of a show. I'm so tired.
And as you could tell, I'm clearly sick and dying.
It's just
I
true
blame
professionals. We're
very particular
very
kids in daycare. I know who they are.
Oh my God, that was a threat, Hammond. You're going to get on a list. So anyway, I had all my interviews teed up on Tuesday and Wednesday to meet with people. And then yesterday, Thursday, I just like did all the touristy things.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine gave me a ride to La Brea Tar Pits, which, do you know what that is?
Heard of it.
It's literally tar pits, and they found a shit ton of fossils from earlier than now, like 10,000, 100,000 years ago, like saber-toothed tigers and woolly mammoths and horses and stuff, old horses.
And stuff that can hammer jacks.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Right.
There was a lot of evolution talk, and I was like, is somebody going to like shake their fist at this sign?
Yeah.
So I did that. I walked down Hollywood Boulevard. I flicked off the Trump star on the Walk of Fame.
Oh, that's still there? I thought someone broke that.
They did, but they replaced it.
Oh.
I made a really funny Blazing Saddles joke in front of the Chinese theater, which I don't think anybody got, but I thought it was extremely funny, and I worked very hard for it. Oh, it's okay. So, fucking.
That's
stupid.
a movie I've seen.
Oh, you've seen Blazing Saddles?
I'm waiting to hear the joke now.
Oh, it's okay. You know, at the very end when Hedy Lamarr, it like ends up running into the Chinese theater to like watch the end of the Blazing Saddles movie, and he's like all dazed, and he stops at Douglas Fairbanks' hand and footprints, and you know how they have all the hand and footprints, and he puts his hands down, or his feet down rather, and he's like, how does he do such fantastic stunts with such little feet? And so it took me a long time to find his. Anyway, totally worth the joke. And then I went up to the.
And everyone laughed.
Oh my God. It's definitely one of those things that I thought was extremely funny, and it was for my sake only.
Yes.
And I went up to the Griffith Park Observatory, which is like an observatory, so it's like telescopes and shit. First of all, it's fucking gorgeous. Like it's in the Hollywood Hills. It's an amazing view. I was there at like 3 p.m, so it's just gorgeous. You can see the Hollywood sign. And yeah, it was super great. I had a wonderful time.
Good.
It was wonderful. I'm very excited for people to hear these interviews. Oh, also, Hemant.
Yes.
Are you going to wish Daddy a happy birthday?
Happy birthday, Daddy.
Daddy's 2 years old today.
Only 2.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been forever.
Okay, first of all, that's really rude. You're very rude at Dottie. It's her birthday.
Happy birthday.
She got a special bully stick for her birthday.
Nice.
Anyway, so I think that's it.
That's awesome. I'm glad.
Very excited to plow through this episode so I can go to sleep.
Done. We'll do it.
Okay.
And before we start, let me give a huge thank you to 2 of our Patreons, Jim D. and Brian M. Thank you so much for your support.
Thanks, guys.
All right. So
wait.
Stop.
Stop. Hemant,
Yes.
shut up. Tuesday night, there was a meetup.
Oh, how was that?
It was super fun.
You got to meet people listening to the podcast.
Yeah, about 8 people showed up, and my husband was there, and everybody was super nice and cool. What I should have done is written down names so I could say hi to them, and I can remember like half of their names, so I'm just not going to swing for it because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But it was great. Like one guy literally came in, was like, I have to go to work right now, but I just wanted to say hi and thank you. It was very sweet. Everyone was kind. They gave me some hot tips on Ethiopian food. It was super, super fun.
That's
so we'll have to
awesome.
do that in Chicago this year.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right, I got to catch you up on everything that's been going on while you were gone. So this one here's a happy story to start you off.
Okay.
With the new Congress in session, there was actually a meeting that took place behind closed doors, but more of a celebration of the Congressional Freethought Caucus, which is this
cool.
10-member caucus that supports reason-based legislation, separation of church and state, and it's not like they have work to do right now because of the Trump shutdown.
Right.
So, one of the people speaking, the co-chairs of this thing were all present. So were members of the Secular Coalition for America and, atheist activists who are based in D.C. And Jamie Raskin, the representative from Maryland, I believe, he's one of the co-chairs. He gave a speech, and I wanted to read some of the things he said because, I don't know, I feel like I don't hear this sort of rhetoric coming from like an older Democrat, certainly talking about Republicans.
Okay.
But it's like, yes, keep talking.
Yeah.
Everything that's going on in the United States of America today is a testament to the power of irrationality and unreason.
Wow.
And the destruction of science and critical thinking.
Whew.
He went on to say, and the shocking thing is that you have an entire political party now operating like a religious cult. Whatever the leader says, they will go with it. It could be black one day, white the next, makes no difference to them. And if you watch the video, you hear someone yelling from the background, it won't be black for them today. And he goes on to say, we need a secular movement that is big and strong and aggressive, and we'd like to consider ourselves the parliamentary arm of it.
Yes.
So cool.
That's really... Who said that again?
That was Jamie Raskin from Maryland. He was surrounded by Jared Huffman, who's the founder of the Congressional Freethought Caucus from California, the guy who doesn't fill out surveys about his religion, and Representative Jerry McNerney from California, those three are the co-chairs. And they had a couple other members there too, so that was exciting. Let me talk about something that was way more disturbing. Okay, so this happened right after I think we recorded our last episode. But there was an 18-year-old woman from Saudi Arabia. Her name is, sorry for the mispronunciation, Rahaf Mohammed Al-Qanun. And she escaped from Saudi Arabia. And, you hear bits and pieces of these stories, so I don't know which thing to give more weight to and what's true and what's a rumor.
Okay.
But the story that I read versions of was she is not Muslim. Her family is. She has made it very clear she's very feminist. She is rebelling against the traditional culture. And when her family was on vacation, she basically hitched a ride on a plane, wanted to go to Australia so she could basically escape the hell out of there.
Wow.
Because she knew, maybe she had threats leading up to it. She knew that if she stayed home, she would be the victim of an honor killing. And they were going to, her own family was going to kill her. She's like, I can't go back there. So she gets on a plane to go to Australia. The Saudi government, and this is Mohammed bin Salman, the guy who was supposed to be like the progressive reformer of Saudi Arabia, but is really the guy who killed Jamal Khashoggi and has done all these horrible things. The Saudi government, of which I believe her father was a part of, they knew where she went and where she was going. And they basically, when she was on her layover in Thailand, she steps off the plane. There are Saudi police waiting, or at least Thai police who have been summoned to capture her to bring her back home.
On what grounds?
On the grounds that, I don't know, she's trying to escape without paperwork or something. I don't remember. But basically, they're like...
How old did you say she was?
18.
Okay.
They said, you can't leave. We have orders to send you back to Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
And she went crazy in a good way online saying, on Twitter, I'm telling you exactly who I am. Here is my passport. Here's my personal information, everybody. Help me get this out there. I need help right now.
Wow.
I need asylum somewhere. I wanted to get to Australia. I can't make it. I'm stuck in this airport. What do I do? Like, blah, blah, blah. And she got enough help, and she got help immediately in the UN, like basically order the Thai government, like, you hold her here until we can look into this matter.
Wow.
And today afternoon, Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced that Canada had granted her asylum.
Great.
And she is, as of this afternoon, she was on a plane to Canada so she could escape there somewhere safely. And a couple things about that. That's awesome. That's what good countries ought to be doing. But also, who knows what's going to happen between the relationship between Saudi Arabia and Canada?
Yeah.
Because this is like a global crisis for Canada and Saudi Arabia, because it's like we're basically defying your religious rule. We're defying your government.
Yeah.
And we're taking care of this girl because you're not doing a good job of it. They did it before. Raif Badawi, he was a guy accused of blasphemy in Saudi Arabia. He was flogged, and he's technically still awaiting much of the flogging, the whipping, and he's been stuck there. Obama tried getting people to get him out. It wasn't successful. I don't remember. This government hasn't done anything really, but like they haven't been able to get him out there. Other countries have asked to get him out of there. He's still there. But Canada also took in his wife and their 3 children who are now in Quebec. So, I mean, they've taken in a lot of these Saudi refugee seekers, essentially saying we need to be safe. Someone help us. And they took them in. I'm sure I'm missing some details here, but the way this woman, the 18-year-old, handled the situation and got help from so many different groups of people, and apparently, it seems, is going to be somewhere safe, and by safe, I mean away from her family, who apparently saw her feminism and her disrespect in a way as a sign that they needed to kill her.
Jesus.
So,
well, I'm glad she found safe ground.
yeah,
I'm
hopefully that'll stay.
sure wish the United States would do some refugee taken in because that feels like it's supposed to be sort of our jam according to a statute I've heard of. But
not what we do now.
No.
right.
No.
We'll talk about Catholics.
Wait.
Yes.
Pause.
Yes.
Our Lyft driver on the way to the airport this morning was a TSA agent.
Oh, really?
They were not thrilled as a group. Understandably.
Who are not getting paid right now.
Yeah, the government is still shut down as of this recording. TSA was not happy. I tried to be very pleasant as they went through all of my recording equipment and politely said,
"These microphone stands are
it's
like
the microphone
poisonous.
stands because the bases are just really heavy, so they stabilize the mics." And they're just so dense that they're like literally
like you got to be hiding something in these.
100%.
Yeah.
But they pulled my suitcase both times, obviously, because I carried on. Oh, first of all, we're buying a new fucking suitcase, Hammond.
Sorry, my leftover equipment isn't good enough for you.
The handle is broken, so I couldn't roll it. This thing's like 50 fucking pounds.
Why do you think I gave it to you?
And I had to carry it all around LAX and Midway. I was so mad at you.
The prank worked.
Like twice it opened up. Like as a goof, I was like, I'm just gonna sneak up on it, and the handle opened, and I was like, it worked, but I was like in security line, which was anyway. I was just cursing your name and being very cranky. What? Oh, anyway, I really sidetracked myself. Our Lyft driver on the way to LAX, like straight up and down, was like, "Are you guys for or against the wall?" And I was like,
yes.
I was like,
go.
Against? And he's like, yeah, everybody keeps saying that. How come Trump thinks everyone wants it? And I was like,
hey, make shit up.
Hey, maybe people who are in LA in a Lyft aren't like the most widespread like sampling. Maybe you're kind of...
Yeah, I'm guessing the California crowd is not
a
bit
of a pre-selected crowd. Anyway.
So I'm pretty sure if you go to Texas, you're going to hear the same thing.
Anyway.
Go
ahead.
So let's talk about Catholics.
Sure, Catholics.
The Gallup polling, they do a survey about, like, we talked about this, I think, last week. Which professions do you trust the most?
Oh,
and,
yeah,
like,
this is 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, nurses top the list. So today, they released a new poll using that data, basically saying, what did Catholics say? What did Catholics say about the church and religious leaders?
Okay.
Like, we know the big story when we talked about this a couple of weeks ago was that clergy was really low on that list. Gallup said it was like 37% of people give high trustworthy ranks to members of the clergy. And so now we know what happens when you ask just Catholics. What do you think about clergy members in terms of their honesty and ethical standards? And what happens is this part of the graph looks like a hockey stick. It just sinks down. Only 31% of Catholics say clergy members are trustworthy.
Less than a third?
Yeah.
Oh,
even they are like, nah, I don't trust our people or any religious people. They didn't say, like, do you trust Catholic church leaders? They just said church leaders. But Catholics have been so jaded, it seems. Like, even they were at 31%. That's a drop of 18 points from the previous year. Biggest drop in 15 years.
But isn't there something slightly reassuring that, like, finally public opinion is changing based on empirical data instead of, like
now they get it?
Yeah.
Finally. Now, the follow-up on this is what percent of Americans go to church, go to Catholic church, and they ask Catholics this specifically. What percentage of you go to church? Normally, this has hovered around like 20 to 30% of all Americans, because that's a lot of Catholics.
Still seems low.
Among Catholics, it's at 22% who say religion is important, I should say, in their life. It was always like a mix, but like it's at 22%. But the weird thing about it is that it's always been in the 20s. And it's been lower than 22 sometimes. So it's like you have a low opinion of religious leaders, and yet your opinion of like the importance of religion and how many people identify as Catholics still hasn't really changed. They're not abandoning the label. They just understand that, like, yeah, I don't trust these people.
Wow.
But there's too much writing on this label to do anything with it. So anyway, interesting one.
That is interesting.
All right, I'll give you one totally different. I have a mix today. They're not all like sad, scary stories.
Oh, good.
I know. Aren't you proud?
So proud.
Okay, here's a question. I want you to tell me what's offensive about it. This was asked on a British quiz show. In about 300 CE, which country in the Caucasus region became the first to adopt Christianity as its state religion?
Something's offensive about that?
Something is offensive about that question. Nope.
Wait, can I guess?
You can, but I'll already say no.
Is it because they use CE instead of AD?
Damn, you're good.
Fuck yeah!
I thought you were going with Caucasus. I'm like, nope, that word's fine.
God,
yeah, it's CE. You are a genius.
I'm
Jeremy Paxman.
So smart. It must be intimidating to sit across the table from me.
It's what I say every day.
I know.
Jeremy Paxman is the BBC host of this show. He's a journalist there. He used the term CE, and on Twitter, people went like crazy. They were like, our Christian heritage is being eradicated from our culture by the BBC.
Yep.
Constant removal of all things Christian.
I got it.
Someone tweeted it should be BC and AD.
What did AD stand for?
Anno Domini, the year of the Lord.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and before Christ, obviously, but like nearly 50%.
Wait, so one's in English, one's in Latin?
I don't know how words
look
work.
this up.
But yeah, so nearly 50% of British people have no religious affiliation whatsoever. CE actually makes more sense there.
Because it's usually now people say BCE and CE.
Right, Common Era and before Common Era. And that's totally, by the way, that's not a new thing. That's like hundreds of years old. There's nothing weird about that.
Anno Domini and before Christ. What the fuck?
You're welcome. Yeah.
Why is it in English? I'm irrationally angry
Isn't this
about
like
this.
polyamory? It's like a Greek and a Latin word combined into one, and it makes no sense. One's a like.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
Because poly is. Oh, that makes sense. Because poly is Latin, amory is Greek.
Nodding, smiling.
Why would I even say that out loud? As if I fucking know. All I'm doing is setting myself up for failure.
But yeah, so CE. That's the way to go. BBC said we favor the term as a religiously neutral alternative to BC and AD. So good. Hopefully they don't like cave on that. All right, I'll give you a different one.
Isn't it wild what people get mad about?
Dude, how good must it be to be a Christian where that's a problem? Meanwhile, we're like, oh, right, like million people not getting paychecks, a stupid racism wall. Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
I was thinking about this like earlier. It's exhausting to be this frustrated and upset and angry all the time, which is what all these liberals have been feeling for a long time now. Well, since the election, basically. And you realize, like, oh, I almost sympathize with all those Republicans who were upset and angry and furious for like 8 years. Like, no wonder they went crazy and voted for anybody who wasn't a Democrat. But at the same time, I feel like all of our complaints are legit. Yeah. And they were mad because Sean Hannity said Sharia law was coming after them. It's like, I don't feel bad that you got upset over stupid things. I don't really feel sympathy for you. But, like, it is exhausting if all you're feeling is anger and rage. And I feel like that's what Fox News is selling, like, those people. And no wonder they're just... We keep saying they don't see any reason. They're just supporting these stupid things.
Right.
It's like, well, yeah, if you're just convinced that everyone's doing the wrong thing all the time, you're just ready to go with anything. I
think there's also something, maybe righteous is the word, about being angry all the time. It just makes me feel more
like I'm fighting a moral battle.
Yeah, and you know, I love to be morally superior than anybody I can. It happens so rarely.
And I'm just saying the difference is we actually are morally superior,
yes,
which no one else can ever possibly say. So this happened every time there is a new Congress statewide. Yeah. One of the things that happens is they have pre-filed bills. Like, as soon as we are sworn in or the next Congress is sworn in, I want this one ready to go. I don't have to wait till we're sworn in to write this bill. So now we start seeing, all right, what have you been working on for the past little while? What are you trying to pass during this session? In North Dakota, 4 legislators, 2 senators, 2 state representatives filed a bill that would require public school districts to offer a Bible class to students. Require them to. In the past, and this has always been legal, more or less, can we teach a Bible as literature course? Because there are a lot of biblical allusions in literature.
Yeah, we've talked
about that. If you teach it objectively, fine. This is specifically, no, we're making you offer that class. Jesus. And this is the weird thing about the North Dakota bill. Here, I'm going to read you exactly what it says. This is what they want every public school district to offer. 1/2 unit, or 1 semester, 1/2 unit of the Old Testament of the Bible, or the New Testament of the Bible, or 1/2 unit of instruction covering both the Old and New Testaments of the Bible. That's it. So teach a class on the Old Testament, New Testament, or a mix of both. That's what they're forcing schools to do.
Okay, imagine you're a lawmaker.
Yes.
And you look around at your state, at your country, and you're like, you know what the problem is?
Not enough Old Testament. Yeah, now think about this. In the past, when they said schools can offer this if it's objective, all the church-state issues have been, well, this teacher in this school district clearly crossed the line. Look at the curriculum they were using. That's straight out of Sunday school.
Right.
This teacher was treating Noah's Ark as if it was a fact. Right. That's not objective. This is requiring schools to offer a Bible class. So let's talk about all things legally wrong with this. One is you're saying let's teach the Bible, but not any other religious text. I mean, you could easily make a case for teaching the Quran. There's enough people who believe in that. So it's establishing a promotion of religion in one way. That's an argument you can make. By forcing schools to offer this class, you're telling schools, hey, you need to hire someone who is able to teach this class. Hey, you know how you have no budget and you're all downsizing and crazy big class sizes? Don't hire another English teacher or another math teacher. Hire a Bible teacher, even if there's like 3 or 4 kids taking the class. Nope, you can't get another English teacher. Use that money to hire a Bible teacher. They're micromanaging public schools and saying, we know what your kids need, so do what we say. Right. Whereas the rest of the requirements from the state government is, you got to teach 3 credits worth of math, and you guys decide how you're going to do that. Or whatever. And here are the standards we want you to meet. That's normally how it's done. And they also did not say teach it objectively. They just said teach the Bible. Well, how? How do you teach the Bible? There's nothing that says make sure it's religiously neutral, make sure it's taught objectively or in a secular way. No,
Or
none of that language.
As literature, like you said.
Yep, none of that. So that was North Dakota. And then later in the week, like a couple days later, the same type of bill was filed in Florida, this time by a Democrat, but she's a Democrat who acts Republican. This is Kimberly Daniels in Florida, state representative who constantly pushes Republican policy, even though she calls herself a Democrat. This is someone who...
fuck she is.
Yeah, she condemned witches and warlocks. She called on everyone to
remember her.
pray for Donald Trump. She's the one who responded to the Parkland massacre by saying, don't worry, I have a solution. Let's put in God We Trust in all the schools. And they did.
No.
That's her. And also, she said in a video that she cured a friend's cancer using an audio CD of Bible verses, which is how cancer is cured. Oh, and also she told a church crowd that she thanked God for slavery. Yeah. She's black, but that doesn't make it better.
Oh.
Thank God for slavery, otherwise I wouldn't be here.
I was just about to say, is it that...
Still not any better.
No. It's very, very bad, but I just was...
So that's the Democrat, Kimberly Daniels. She introduced the same type of bill, the Bible class bill, in schools. Now, hers does include the language that says this will be a, quote, secular program of education. It's an objective study of the Bible, including, but not limited to, a course on the Hebrew Scriptures and Old Testament, a course on the New Testament, a course on the Hebrew Scriptures, the Old Testament and the New Testament. Basically, the same deal.
Yeah.
Teach the Old, teach the New, teach a mix, whatever. You can't force a specific translation. She pretends that it's going to be objective, but keep in mind, she's only pushing for the Bible to be taught. She's not pushing for any other religious text to be taught. And this would be a requirement for the school districts. And again,
Fucking
Florida.
Why, Daniels? What the fuck are you doing?
Many, many crazy things.
That's wild and stupid, and I hate her.
I'm pissed off more. Like, there's a church state side of me that's like, this is horrible. But the other part of me is, as a teacher who taught for many years, I'm just like, no, we don't. Like, it's one thing to hire a teacher to teach an elective class, but like you go into it knowing their interest is going to fluctuate, the students. So like some years they may have a class that's crazy packed. Other years they're going to have a small class, but like you need those teachers. But for this that you don't need, and the school isn't saying, hey, there's all this interest to take this class, we need someone to teach it. That's not what's going on. They're saying, hey, we don't care what your school offers or what the students have said. Take it, hire somebody to write the curriculum, do it.
It's so fucking wild how antithetical... Well, she's a Democrat. Never mind.
She is a Democrat. ACLU of Florida said...
I was really ready to shit all over Republicans, and that would have been dishonest of me, and I'm sorry about it.
She's a Republican in disguise. The ACLU of Florida says they are keeping an eye on this, because if it's objective, that's one thing. But what I don't know the answer to...
How do you prove that it's objective? I'm sorry,
if kids... I see how my words affect you. What I don't get is, even if they taught it objectively, it's a class required for the Bible. So it's still a promotion of religion, isn't it? That alone should be it. Now, these bills may go the route that a lot of bills go through, which is, they'll hear it in some committee and then it'll die because there's not enough support for it. You hope that's the way this goes. But this is part of that Project Blitz thing we talked about before, where they just try to ram these pieces of legislation through state governments because some of them are probably going to get through. And this is one of the prongs of that approach. So,
Not great.
So, wherever you live right now, if your state just convened, like Florida, I think there's some states that, Tennessee, for example, they don't start officially till like next Saturday. Illinois started this week, a couple days ago, other states this week. Check your state. Check the legislation that's been filed so far. See what's there, because you never know when you're going to see one of these things. Okay, let's go to our friends at Liberty Counsel. This is Matt Staver. This is the lawyer who defended Kim Davis. So there is a bill in Congress, U.S. Congress, that's actually getting support, bipartisan support. Do you know how rare that is?
Yeah,
right?
what is it?
That bill, which I believe is sponsored by the 3 black senators, which is Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, and Tim Scott, the Republican, it passed out like 100-0. Mitch McConnell signed it. it's a bill that would make lynching a federal crime, and all the convictions.
I have heard about
all
this.
the convictions that go with it would be raised to like a federal crime, which has stricter punishments. So Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel spoke out against the anti-lynching bill.
What a brave stand he's taking.
The strategy behind this is just really, this is the hill you want to die on?
So
all right.
Dumb.
Here's the reason that he says, if I may put this in his words, his argument is that the bill that has passed would include not just lynching for racial reasons, which is what we think of, I think, when we think of race, or lynching. It would include violence that's motivated by, quote, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, or disability. Those are added on to the current hate crime bill or something, like in addition to race and religion. What he's upset about, Staver, is that they're including sexual orientation and gender identity as categories to be protected. Not because, if I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt here, not because he's saying we should be able to lynch them, but because he's saying if you specially mark that off as a category, they're going to be able to use that and say this is a protected group of people. They need special protections, which again, why would that be a problem? That's his problem. He doesn't like that they singled out sexual orientation and gender identity as if these are worthy of protection, as such as religion and race, which are. That's his perspective. I don't think I'm stretching what he's saying.
Right.
But of course, the headlines are like, evangelicals oppose anti-lynching bill, which you should have seen coming a mile away.
Right, yeah, the optics of that are not good.
And he's been on the defense now, like, well, people are sending me death threats over my anti-lynching bill proposal. Like, dude, death threats not okay, but also you're still a fuck up.
Yeah.
His exact quotation is, the old saying is, once that camel gets the nose in the tent, you can't stop them from coming the rest of the way in. Which is a weird metaphor to use. And this would be the first time.
Stop.
Yeah,
Shut up again.
The old saying
As the old saying goes?
This is like his Trojan horse metaphor. Once the camel gets the nose in the tent, you can't stop them from coming the rest of the way in, which I don't camp. I'm brown. But I don't think camels go in your tent.
I don't think there are camels where people camp.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in the U.S. there's no wild camels.
He camps in the desert, I guess.
Wait, I'm going to look that. Okay, once the camel...
What's weird...
Camel's nose quote. Let's see where
that's
an
actual
from.
Quote?
Yeah. The idiom is an allusion to a story that takes place in Arabia with this metaphorical moral. If the camel once gets his nose in the tent, his body will soon follow.
Uh-huh. So it's real.
It is real.
Yeah.
I've never heard it in my entire life. And
well
I
done,
have an entire degree in literature and bullshit. So, I don't know how I missed that one.
Leave it to an anti-LGBTQ hate group to find a problem with the bill that protects LGBTQ people.
Well, yeah, I'm still dwelling on this metaphor. Okay, go ahead.
So, again.
Yeah, that is such bad optic. Like, guys, what are you doing? Besides being morally repugnant, it's also just dumb.
Right. These are the same people Liberty Counsel who said after the Pulse nightclub massacre, they said, hey, all those first responders better get tested for AIDS.
Oh, God.
That's the good crazy Christian side of things. Like, they're not even the ones who said we celebrate dead people.
Fuck off.
They have a history of doing low, crappy things, and they found a way to get worse. Okay, here's on the similar page, because, Pulse nightclub, there was a guy who celebrated the deaths of, he said, I'm paraphrasing here, he said he was upset that the murderer didn't finish the job.
What the actual fuck?
Yeah. This was Pastor Donnie Romero of Steadfast Baptist Church in Texas, which is part of the independent, fundamental Baptist, we're hardcore Baptists, and therefore we're the good ones, and everyone else is sinners, and gay people are really sinners. That's his church. Steven Anderson is a pastor at these churches. We talked about him. There's another guy, Adam Fannin. These are basically anti-LGBTQ hate preachers who go out of their way to just say the worst possible things. Like, they make Westboro Baptist Church look tame.
Jesus.
And this guy, Donnie Romero, literally celebrated the Pulse nightclub massacre because the guy and expressed his desire that the shooter killed everybody because too many of them got away. So this guy, horrible, right? Mm-hmm. Last weekend, there was turmoil at the church, and then it took a couple days. Now we know what happened. Apparently, he resigned because for one night, he must have gone to a casino, and according to a confession that he made on video, he, I'm paraphrasing again, he gambled.
Okay.
He smoked pot.
Ooh.
And he was with prostitutes.
Sex workers.
His words, prostitutes.
Okay.
Sex workers, right. He admitted all this. I'm going to quote him from a video he made this week. I went to Jacksonville, and I went to a casino, and I was drinking, and there were girls there that were prostitutes, and I committed adultery on my wife multiple times.
Oh.
I drank and gambled multiple times, and I even smoked weed. I did sins. I went back to sins that I've committed before in the past, and it even caused me to commit sins that I had never done before. I will be honest, I think the reason he made this video is because he wanted to make sure everyone knew that these were females.
Oh.
Because there was speculation online it had to be a guy, because
Yeah.
that's why this is such a thing. Again, all these sins, there's no doubt that all these people that go to their church and the leaders of their church are sinners in some way.
Right.
Really smoking pot and you're acting like you killed somebody or something. Drinking, really, that's your thing. Okay, the affair thing I get. You feel really bad about that. We have some issues to discuss if that's your thing. But what? Okay, so he did all this. Apparently everyone finds out about it. He resigns. They replace him with a guy whose only claim to fame is being even worse than this one because he also gave a sermon about why vaccinations were stupid. But the headlines that I've seen in Texas media and stuff are basically this hate preacher resigned after committing the sort of sins that
he's preaching against.
Oh, and by the way, he said in that same video, we're going to get our life back together, my family and I.
Wow.
He says, quote, we plan on finding an old IFB type church, Independent Fundamentalist Baptist, IFB type church that we can go to and serve the Lord. I haven't changed anything I believe. I still believe exactly the same. I just went into sin. Which is his way of saying, I still want gay people dead, but I made mistakes, and I need to fix that. But seriously, I still hate gay people. Don't shun me.
The fucking glaring hypocrisy of these fucking monsters is frankly exhausting.
Here's the quote from Pulse that Romero said. I'll pray that God will finish the job that man started, and he will end their life, and by tomorrow morning they will all be burning in hell just like the rest of them, so that they don't get any more opportunity to go out and hurt little children.
Oh, fuck clean off, dude. Fuck that noise.
So that's this guy.
No,
he wants your forgiveness for what he has done.
Just this bullshit hypocrisy. What the fuck are you doing,
I did take some delight in seeing him
fall from grace.
At the same time, I'm it sounds like you just had one wild hangover type night on the town.
Right.
I will grant you that if you had this affair or something and that you feel really bad about, and now you're violating your trust with your wife. Okay, I get that that's a deal, but you could also, again, are you telling me that's the worst thing that pastors do all the time? No, Catholic Church does way worse.
Right.
But again, seeing this guy go down?
Yeah, no. Ugh. I wish he did something illegal.
Right?
I want him to go to jail. He's a bad, bad person.
Yeah. He hasn't been charged with anything, by the way, because even if sex workers are illegal, using them in Florida, he hasn't been charged with anything. And people clearly know that he did it because he confessed to it. But
yeah, but I think they usually need more.
And that's a separate conversation too. The whole that shouldn't even be a crime.
Right.
But again, the point is he says this stuff is a sin, and then he does it, and he wants forgiveness. Meanwhile, he calls for the death of people that he says commit a different type of sin. That's that hypocrisy is what's wrong here.
Put him on an island. He doesn't belong in society anymore.
All right. You want to talk about one more thing that involves LGBTQ people? Because evangelicals were on a roll this weekend.
Yeah,
this week.
What happened?
So remember this? There was this thing called the Nashville Statement. This was a thing signed by a whole bunch of evangelical Christian leaders last year.
Yes.
It was like a 10-point list of all the things about gay people and trans people. It said trans people don't exist.
Sure.
It said, marriage is between one man and one woman.
Cool.
It's like even now, these people haven't figured this stuff out. They're still on the bigotry train, and all these evangelical leaders signed it.
Right.
Okay, that was a while ago. For the most part, I think most people don't really talk about it now because it hasn't really come up. It's just one of those like, well, we got your name on a list. You're a horrible person.
Right.
But this week in the Netherlands, a couple of Dutch pastors translated that document and they posted it on their ministry's website somewhere.
Okay.
And they said 250 pastors and church leaders have signed our document. And they basically did a straight-up translation of the American one.
Okay.
And that was weird because in the Netherlands, most people are not okay with this stuff.
Right.
And that infuriated a ton of people. Like, how dare you all celebrate this hate?
Yeah.
Right? But here's the good news after all this. And by the way, those were all 250 signatures, all men, all from a handful of churches.
Cool.
And it's just horrible. And it seems like overwhelmingly, even with the media, just backlash left and right.
Sure.
But here's the fun news in all of this. There is a good side to all this. There is a group, I'm going to mispronounce it, basically humanists in the Netherlands,
Okay.
a humanist group there. They made their own version. And I'm gonna tell you the 10 things on there. They're basically carbon copies of the Nashville Statement, but the good twist. We affirm that men and women are equal. We affirm that people love each other in different ways. They can be attracted to each other physically. All people must be free to be who they want to be.
Yay.
Number 3, we affirm that sexuality must always be a mutually free choice. Consent. 4, we affirm that sexuality contributes to a meaningful, joyful, and beautiful life. 5, we affirm that there are people who want to change gender and we affirm their right to do so. 6, we deny that people should hide or denounce their sexual orientation. 7, we believe marriage is a choice between free people, straight and gay, who want to enter into a loving and responsible relationship with each other. 8, we affirm there are kinds of relationships in which people live together and care for each other, cohabitation, right? Not marriage. 9, we affirm that love is the most important basis for raising children. Women and men, regardless of their relationship, are capable of doing so. And 10, we affirm that everyone is free to shape their own lives, and there should be no direct or indirect coercion or exclusion in legislation or in social life.
Oh, that's nice.
That's their list.
That's very nice.
That one did not get 250 signatures. That one had 20,000 signatures. And it's like the Netherlands. My understanding is they only have like 700 people there.
Yeah, there's like, 45 or so.
Amazing. And
That's
like
nice.
a wonderful way to just respond to the hate coming
Yeah.
from like those Christians. So anyway, good on them. And I love how they just took that horrible story
That's really nice
and turned
to
it into
hear.
something nice. My last story here for you. I ended this one on a good note. I was watching the 700 Club, as one does. Because you got to watch. Because I have kids and I have nothing good in my life. I need something to get my mind off of them.
I'm playing this recording for your children in 10 years.
No, whatever. This will be link rotted out of existence. But, but I need to okay, Pat Robertson will amuse me because my kids just need milk and go to sleep now. Anyway. I was watching the Q&A session. They do it at the end of the show. They ask Pat Robertson 3 questions, and usually one of them's good for a holy shit, Pat. So
is that where we get all those weird quotes from him?
Yes.
Okay.
They all come from the Q&A portion, almost always. Here's the question. Hello, Pat and friends. I was doing my weekly technology checkup on my 13-year-old son's iPad computer.
Sorry.
I'm not even there yet.
I know, but
Yeah.
that was just such an old person thing to
It
say.
really is. Her weekly technology checkup on the iPad computer. When I noticed homosexual pornographic material in his search history.
Uh-oh.
This has greatly shaken my family, my connection to God. How can we stop my son's homosexual interests? Emma.
What did Pat Robertson say? I'm on the edge of my
What
seat.
did Pat Robertson say? What do you think he's going to say? I thought the worst of this.
I would say, if I've seen a lot of Pat Robertson's particular brand of horrible.
Yeah.
So I am guessing that, you wouldn't bring this to me if it were just this, but I'm guessing he's just remove access to, like, remove computer privileges and probably send him
That
to,
is
like,
what he said.
pray
That's
the
part
gay,
of it.
Pray the gay away.
I thought he might take that route. I'd certainly cut him off from the internet, which is part of what he said. He did not go the pray the gay away route.
Sorry, real quick, you said how old is this kid?
13.
13, okay.
Here's what Pat Robertson said. And keep in mind, Pat Robertson doesn't understand browser histories.
Oh,
and Pat Robertson doesn't understand, like,
He doesn't understand
porn
iPod computers.
sites. Yeah. So here's the exact quotation. Are you ready for this?
I'm so excited.
I think, how can you stop it? I think what you need to do is cut off that particular avenue that's coming into him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Because somebody is trying to seduce your son. And they shouldn't be sending homosexual or any other kind of sexual material on the internet. It shouldn't be done. I had to make sense of this.
Okay, so
Kids searching for porn on the internet. Pat Robertson took that to mean someone's, like, grooming him.
Do you think he got, like, internet and email mixed up?
Maybe.
Like, he thinks all internet is, like
someone
has
sending you
to
links.
send you something on the other end?
It must have been a hack, and someone's trying out to, like, get you, because if you watch the porn, then you'll come to my white van in the backyard. I don't know.
Wow.
But that's where he went with it. I'm like, where did you get the guy trying to seduce your son?
That is
I don't know where that came from.
extremely funny.
This wing of white conservative evangelicals, they usually equate homosexuality and pedophilia.
Right.
So I'm like, is that where his mind went? That the kid's looking up porn, and so he thinks, well, he's going to get...
after him?
Yeah.
Yikes on bikes.
Yeah. My favorite quotation from a commenter, someone's trying to seduce your son, check your local pastor. And by the way, at no point here, of course, did Pat Robertson say, you can't stop your son's homosexual interest. That's not how it works.
Right.
I mean, you're not expecting him to say that, but that's the answer you do
Yeah,
give.
God.
And also, why are you checking on your 13-year-old's iPad? Like, I don't know.
Oh, are you supposed to? I don't
I was
know.
wondering about this. I'm like, a 13-year-old who knows how to use an iPad and the mom is checking up on his browser history every week? I mean, part of me I'm very curious. This is one you actually can email me, and I want to read this because I can't imagine I would do that, but I also don't have a 13-year-old.
We need to teach that kid how to use incognito mode, you know?
Dude, I wanted to
Like,
say that to this kid.
I mean, I know
Clear
you're
your
young.
history.
I know you're young, but like...
He'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Don't worry, his whole life is on Pat Robertson's show now.
Christ, on a fucking
But like, as a parent, who's checking their kid's browser history? He's a 13-year-old boy.
I bet people do
I promise
that.
you there is way worse than gay porn on
Right.
his browser search history.
Haven't seen it. Isn't it, like, doesn't it blow your mind? Like, sometimes I just have to remember this sort of fear that the right has stoked in, like, gay men attacking young children, and they're so pearl clutchy about it.
Mm-hmm.
But we have case after case after case after case of religious leaders attacking young children. And I just don't understand how they compartmentalize that way.
Yeah. It should also be said, just because he's looking at this stuff doesn't actually mean he's gay either.
Oh,
Sometimes you're curious.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, this is what porn is. Or like, this is what sex is. Like, I don't know any of this.
Right.
So let me go look it up. And now I'm curious. And I just won't show anybody until my mom tells Pat Robertson what I'm looking up online.
God. Emma, leave your kid
Oh,
alone.
the
He's
cringe.
fine.
Oh, Pat Robertson. Don't ask an 88-year-old man about your son's browser history.
Jesus.
It's not going to end well.
That's not great.
So, I'm done. I got nothing
good.
else.
I feel like I delivered a particularly low energy performance tonight.
It's okay. I'm going to try to not be sick.
Okay.
And then we'll come back. And I told you my coaching season kicks into high gear now for
Right.
like a month and a half.
Right.
So I'm slowly going insane in a good way because
Mm-hmm.
it's exciting. And the kids need attention
Yeah.
and told.
And they'll get you sick, and it'll be
Daycare
great.
kids.
Oh, it's daycare kids,
I
not your
blame
students.
the other ones.
The dirty ones?
Certain ones.
Do you know? Do you have, like, suspicions?
I know what they look like. I know which ones cough when I walk in to pick up my kid.
Oh, God. Do you have anything good going on this weekend besides speech? Or is that just...
We took like a month and a half off, basically, from speech, and so now we're back in hardcore competitive mode.
Nice.
And like for anyone who does forensic stuff, like this is the exciting part where it's the gearing up for the postseason and it's super competitive, so it's fun.
Cool.
So we start back up tomorrow, and yeah, I'm excited about that. That's basically all that's in my life for the next month and a half.
Dope.
Yeah.
I'm going to a haunted Chicago tour tomorrow.
Oh, really?
It was,
like a walking tour?
It's actually a bus tour.
I was going to ask. It's very cold outside.
Because I've done a walking. It wasn't a haunted tour. It was like a notable deaths in Chicago. I have a macabre sensibility about me.
I did one of those in a long time ago.
Oh, if there is a haunted X, if I'm going to a city and they have any kind of
and
haunted
Chicago's
tour,
a good one to have that
Chicago's a very good one.
Everyone gets murdered here, I'm told.
Yeah, no, there's some big name murders. I think we'll probably go by like the John Wayne Gacy house and shit like that.
Oh, I thought you were going to go like Al Capone route because that's what...
No. I'm not so much into gangsters as much as like I went to
creepy serial killers.
Yeah. I went to the Museum of Death in LA.
I didn't even know that it was a thing.
I've been to both of them now. I went to the one wait, have I told you this story? I was in I'll just end it on this. I was in New Orleans a couple years ago for a friend's bachelorette party.
Yeah.
And it was one of those, like, I was obviously very close to the bride, but, like, all of the women were sort of from disparate parts of her life, so I didn't really know anybody else that well. And one day we were walking around the city, and we just had some time to kill. We were just kind of wandering, and we go past, like, this giant sign that says Museum of Death, and I was like, anyone want to do this with me? And they're all like, no. A, it's $16. B, no, that's fucking weird. And I was like, all right, see you never. Like, I'll catch up with you in 2 hours when I'm done looking at weird corpses.
What do you find in the Museum of Death? Like how they died?
It's all sorts of things. So there's like serial killer memorabilia. So there's like paintings by like John Wayne Gacy, who was a kind of prolific painter when he was in college. There's correspondences. So I was reading like, it was so eerie. You read like Jeffrey Dahmer's had like a pen pal, and this pen pal just gave them all of his correspondences, and it's just so wild how mundane it is because it's just like, oh, this is what's going on. I heard there's flooding. We didn't get any flooding, and then it was obviously like back and forth because at the end of the letter, Jeffrey Dahmer was like, yeah, I don't think there's much point in me going back to get my bachelor's. I'm probably not going to be alive in 2 or 3 years.
Oh my God.
Which is, so there's that. There's like old torture methods, old like medical things that people did, like the thing where you drill a hole in your head. Trepanation. Oh my God. Thank you. So they have those things. They have death masks of people. It's very morbid. It was cool.
I'm with your friends on this one.
No, yeah. It's definitely not for everyone. It's just a thing that interests me for reasons that just I'll have to talk to my therapist about, I guess. Cool. Right. You can follow me on Twitter at Blueberry, BLUEBURIE.
I haven't met message us. Tell me if you're stalking your kids' browser histories at 13.
I do want to hear
about
that.
Or what age does that get weird at?
Like, what age do you respect their private... I mean, I guess privacy is... I don't know. I'd be curious to hear that because I don't have kids. Email us if you have any questions, comments, concerns that you want us to address on air. friendlyatheistpodcast@gmail.com, patreon.com/friendlyatheistpodcast if you'd like to donate and access my interviews that will be out this week.
We will get those bonus episodes up, but only to Patreon subscribers. It's just $1. What are you doing with that $1?
Nothing.
All right,
I need that $1.
Yes.
For interviews.
Yes.
How does capitalism
that's
work?
what you give to the people when you interview them.
$1 per person.
Yes.
Okay, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.